preferential trade agreements or free trade agreements as possible to try and diversify our supply chains and make them more resilient. So broadly, that was the kind of discussions that were held on this issue. Civil nuclear cooperation. Yes, there is broad agreement that this is a potential area of cooperation, including new and emerging technologies such as SMR, small modular reactors. It's still very early. There was only a preliminary discussion. It was agreed that teams would be formed on both sides to try and take this discussion forward. So we look forward to more details as and when the two teams engage. Solar energy exports, and you mentioned an underwater cable. Yes, there is a broad suggestion that something like that can be done, but there was no specific discussion on that this time. But during the India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable held about 20 odd days ago, there was a suggestion that India could consider joining the ASEAN electricity grid. So there is a potential for cooperation there, and we will be taking the discussions forward. Defense cooperation, it's still a work in progress. There are a number of elements, including joint exercises, training, capacity building, defense industrial dialogue, defense policy dialogue, participation in each other's seminars, etc. As part of defense industry cooperation, we do talk about possibilities for co-development, co-production, developing technologies, etc. together, and possibly sharing the outputs of any such collaboration. But nothing specific yet, so this is still work in progress. Anything else? Civil aviation, yes. There are multiple elements that go into civil aviation cooperation, including increasing connectivity, number of flights, destinations, etc. There is also a suggestion that MRO, maintenance, repair, and overhauling, is a major area of collaboration. Singapore has very good experience and expertise in the area of MRO. And therefore, it is a very promising area for us to collaborate. Singapore wants to invest in MRO facilities in India, help develop capacity in India, basically driven by the fact that it's a very vast business that is generated for them. SIA Engineering is the company in Singapore. They want to partner with the Tatas, since Singapore Airlines is invested in Tatas to the extent of in Air India to the extent of 25%. So it makes sense for them to collaborate in the area of MRO with Tatas and also to help develop capacity in India and to use the land availability in India to set up MRO facilities. So broadly, those are the areas where we collaborate in the area of civil aviation.
Okay, Sudhi, please.
Sir, Shruti Ranjan from Bloomberg. So on the semiconductors thing, if you could give us an understanding what exactly, what was decided today, and therefore going forward, are we looking at investments? Are we looking at design help? What are we looking at?
Kalol.
Kalol Bhattacharjee from the Hindu, sir. Sir, did the situation in Myanmar feature in the talks? And did the two sides discuss the upcoming election in Myanmar?
Siddhant.
Hi, sir. I'm Siddhant from CNN News 18. Sir, joint statement mentions the third review of CECA and substantial review of ASEAN-India Trade in Goods Agreement. Sir, if you can elaborate a little bit on what is Singapore's point of view as far as the review of these two existing agreements is concerned. Thank you.
नीरज.
सर नमस्कार, मैं नीरज सुबह प्रभा साक्षी से. सर मेरा प्रश्न ये है कि जो आज का जो जॉइंट स्टेटमेंट है उसमें कहा गया है कि मंत्री स्तरीय गोलमेज बैठकें होंगी, तो इसका आयोजन कब से होगा? और मलक्का वाले प्रश्न का हालांकि आपने उत्तर दे दिया है, लेकिन अगर आप उसको हिंदी में दोहरा सकें.
कोशिश करेंगे.
Okay. You have a question? Manas?
Manas again from PTI. Just gone through the joint statement actually, and it says that both the countries will cooperate in development of unmanned vessels under the broader framework of defense cooperation. So what kind of platform it would be? Unmanned vessels, kind of underwater or something related to that?
नीरज आपका सवाल है बोलिए
सर नीरज हूँ न्यूज़ 18 इंडिया से। ज्वाइंट स्टेटमेंट में फूड सिक्योरिटी को लेकर कोऑपरेशन बढ़ाने की बात की गई है, उसके मायने क्या है, क्योंकि तीसरे देश का भी जिक्र किया गया उसमें।
Okay. All right. Let me start with semiconductors. We have this India-Singapore semiconductor ecosystem partnership, which was signed during Prime Minister Modi's visit to Singapore last year. It provides a framework for cooperation on developing semiconductor supply chains. Singapore started manufacturing hard disks, Seagate and others invested in Singapore many years ago. And therefore, they have a very good experience with high value manufacturing. Given that Singapore is a country with wages or wage levels that are far higher than India, and the fact that they are short of land, they focus on high value manufacturing, and electronics is an area that they focused on quite early. So therefore, we have a lot to benefit by cooperating with them. Using the MOU that was signed, we set up a semiconductor policy dialogue to help learn something from them in terms of regulating the semiconductor ecosystem. We are also collaborating with them, and work has already started on it for semiconductor R&D and skilling. We need to develop a skilling ecosystem so that our youngsters are trained to be able to respond to industry needs when it comes to semiconductor investments and facilities that are set up. Singapore has also expressed interest in investments in this sector and also getting their private sector companies to come in and expand their presence in India, to set up a semiconductor manufacturing ecosystem, clusters for both design and fabrication. We are also looking at developing supply chain resilience, diversifying sources, and a large Singapore delegation, industry delegation, visited Semicon India. One of their pavilion was one of the largest. We are also looking at what is called a green laning initiative. Green laning initiative. I mean, it's a new name. It's a new idea. The aim is to try and optimize the supply chains on the two sides. There is a pilot that they will carry out to study how exactly the supply chains are distributed between India and Singapore and how to optimize them in a way that risks are minimized, efficiencies are maximized, including logistical efficiencies. So all these are areas that we are working in the area of semiconductors. On Myanmar, there was no discussion. It was not a subject that was raised by either side. SICA ITGA review, as I said, Singapore is an important partner for us when it comes to working with our ASEAN partners, the rest of the ASEAN partners. They are one of our strongest partners when it comes to trade and investment, as I mentioned earlier. We've had a SICA with Singapore, which came into force sometime in 2005-06. And of course, ITGA review, we've heard so much about it in the last couple of months. Singapore has agreed to advance our or help explain our position to the rest of the ASEAN partners in terms of the need to arrive at a reviewed arrangement that can result in a win-win situation for both sides. The broad grievance on our side is that the trade deficit on our side has increased since the time the ITGA was signed, and that we should try and tweak the arrangements in such a way that we come to a more balanced trade situation. There are a few suggestions made by the Department of Commerce. I will not go into the details, but these are matters of negotiation, and we hope to arrive at a more balanced solution to this. Food security is an area of interest for Singapore. So there's no serious agriculture in Singapore. It depends entirely on imports for all its food needs, and therefore India comes across as a useful partner for food security. It is one of the pillars under sustainability for the India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable, and there are discussions ongoing about what can be done to produce food safely and in a reliable manner, and how to take care of market access issues for our food products in Singapore and in the rest of ASEAN in general. Unmanned vessels is again a new area identified for collaboration. We don't have much details. It could include unmanned surface vessels, possibly even underwater vessels. It's still too early to go into the details on that. But clearly, new and emerging defense technologies are areas of interest. Singapore has a strong R&D ecosystem. There are a number of specialized agencies like A-STAR that promote R&D initiatives in Singapore. So the broad aim will be to try and connect the two startup ecosystems, undertake joint R&D projects in such a way that technologies of interest can be promoted.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the close of this press briefing. Thank you very much for your presence and for your participation. Thank you.